For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision and only your decision on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to How to Stay Healthy, where we interview doctors each week across the vast medical landscape of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care. Join us here for your prescription to better health. Hello, South Florida and beyond, and welcome to the How to Stay Healthy show, September 7th here. Wow, we're flying through September already. Great program tonight. We're going to talk a lot about the ear, nose, and throat. I have a head and neck surgeon and otolaryngologist, Dr. Hina Gupta. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And pronounce that for me because I think I butchered it.
You did a little bit. Otolaryngology. Oto means like ear.
Okay, otolaryngology.
That's
right.
I
got it.
Good job.
Well, we had a hepatopancreatic biliary surgeon on the program Tuesday, so we had to follow up with you.
You're ahead of the game.
We had to do it. I wanted to have you on the program. I've only had one ENT on in the last 3 years of doing this. We've had hundreds of doctors on this program, and you're a little different because you're a head and neck surgeon as well, not just ear, nose, and throat. So that's important. That's a little more advanced specialty.
Well, otolaryngology includes head and neck surgery.
Oh, okay.
And it's commonly known as ear, nose, and throat because that's what the layman knows, that we treat all disorders of ear, nose, throat. That includes, pretty much anything, include the oral cavity, the larynx, all ears, all of that.
Okay, so is that one of the reasons that patients normally look you up, or are they normally referred by maybe a primary care or family doctor?
Absolutely, and the reason is because we have an entire residency and training that includes teaching medical management and then also including surgery when medical management fails. So that's why we're both medical doctors and surgeons.
Oh, that's great to know. And I kind of, I've had a couple sinus issues in my life, but luckily they've gone away. And one of the times I actually was listening to the radio program. It was actually a different radio program, but I do listen to a lot. And I had heard an ad for a balloon sinuplasty, and it was great marketing the way they described it, and this radio host. But luckily, my sinus issue came away. Is that something that you do as well, and ENT would do?
Absolutely. So, balloon sinuplasty is, it's been around for less than 10 years, but sinus surgery obviously has been around forever. Mm-hmm. And classically, when you would go to do a sinus surgery, you came out of surgery, you had a lot of packing in your nose, you were put to sleep. People described it as kind of a roto-rooter. But now you can come in and we can do it with minimally invasive procedures where you can do it right in the office. And you go home right after the office. It takes a couple hours out of your day. And you can, go about your business very quickly, not like it was in the past.
And get back to the quality of life.
Right.
And get back to work maybe the next day.
Absolutely.
Okay. How does that work, though? So you actually inflate a balloon in the sinus cavity?
Absolutely. So a lot of times you have sinus disease because the outflow pathways for where the sinuses drain are constricted, and that's what causes recurrent infections or chronic infections. And so just like you have a balloon that can dilate the vessels in the heart, you can have a balloon that you track into where the sinuses are narrow, and it opens that pathway. Very important.
Thanks for explaining that. We're here with Dr. Hina Gupta, and she's an otolaryngologist. I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm getting better. ENT, ear, nose, and throat, and a head and neck surgeon. Tell us a little bit about. So we're sitting here in Delray Beach at our studio today, and but we broadcast into Broward County as well. So tell us a little bit about where your office is located and about your office, because there's other specialties right in your office.
Absolutely. So I wanted to come here because we opened up this brand new office, and it's been a month, and we're really excited. We've been working on it for 3 years now, so it's been up and coming for a long time, and where it's called Broward Specialty Center. It's located in Coconut Creek, and we have a urologist, a gastroenterologist, a pain management doctor, and so we have high hopes to make this a center for surgical subspecialists.
And right there in the office, most of it can be done, right?
Most everything, yeah.
Okay. And the urologist I saw on the website, it's a urologic surgeon as well, urological surgeon, is that the way you say it?
Yeah, it's surgery, urology. So there's, 5 surgical subspecialties. Ear, nose, and throat, urology, ophthalmology, and orthopedics. We have somebody in the family, but not in that particular location. But yeah, that includes all different subspecialties.
I'm always fascinated. We've had a lot of GIs on here, gastroenterologists, and really fascinating subject. Not until I interviewed a doctor would I think that was fascinating, but I really do find it fascinating. There's so much that goes on in that cavity there.
Right.
So it's neat to hear the explanations as well. And tell the listeners a little bit about your experience. So you've this center has been open a month, but you have experience in South Florida prior to that.
Right. I've been here for 6 years now. Before that, I trained at University of Iowa. I'm from the Midwest originally. That's where I met my husband during training. And he's the urologist, by the way, just so you know. So yeah, we've been in Coral Springs area now for 6 years, and I've been practicing for that amount of time here. And this is just a new chapter in our life.
What brought you to South Florida?
My husband and and his parents, basically his whole extended family is in South Florida.
Very nice. Well, we're glad to have you here because, having a great ENT, that's very important.
Right.
Because there's obviously a lot of issues with the ear, nose, and throat as well. But at your center, gastroenterologist, your husband's a urology surgeon as well, urologist.
Right.
And
pain management.
Pain management, that's right. And Coconut Creek over there. And we'll give out the info as well. Now, you also, as an ENT, can help out. I've learned a lot about this in the last few years. Actually, my mom had an issue with her thyroid. I could tell you, like 4 or 5 years ago, before I was in the medical field, I had no idea that thyroid even existed. Now there's thyroid and parathyroid ailments.
Right.
Now, someone can come to an ENT like yourself for that kind of treatment?
Yeah, so, since I'm a surgeon, we operate on any masses that can occur in the thyroid and the parathyroid. There's a lot of tumors that can happen within those areas, and so I can operate on those. But I liked ENT because I see that's so varied. In one day, in one afternoon, I can see a 1-year-old and I can see a 90-year-old. And so I just like the fact that there's so much variety, and we can treat so many different types of diseases, including voice disorders, hearing disorders, allergy. It's just really all-encompassing, I feel.
I actually have a 15-month-old, so I know about the tubes in the ears, which I was reading on your website. And that fascinated me that you treat, from pretty much like newborns all the way to your oldest patient could, like you said, be in their 90s as well. So that's very important.
I've had 300-year-old patients in the last couple of years, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's great. People are living longer, and it's one of the reasons we do this show is to bring the latest and greatest in health across South Florida. I always, when doctors thank me at the beginning of the show, I always say, well, thank you for, coming on this adventure of health, because we're like you said, we're the layman, we're the general public. It's great. I know people are very educated nowadays on their health care. They'll do the search. Everyone Google searches right away.
Everybody uses Dr.
But
Google.
then, I've even for my own ailments or issues started reading medical journals, and I find them interesting as well. But it's what I'm trying to get to is you have to have a great resource, and your family and friends have to know what's out there. That's so important in your health.
Well, there's so much advertising that happens, right? Like directly to the patient. And so it's hard to sift through what's good, what's not good, what's a moneymaker versus what's really good for your health. So I completely agree. And I have that when I have something not in my field, I'm not just using the online search, I'm calling a lot of people because experience does matter, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good way of putting it. And I just want to go back to thyroid and parathyroid. So most cancers with the thyroid can be treated early and have a great success rate if they're found early and the patient stays on the regimen. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So thyroid carcinoma is classically a very slow growing tumor in cancer. If there's also benign tumors in the thyroid as well. And so, it's kind of like prostate cancer. It's very slow growing. It's not like a malignant killer, but if treated in an ideal, timely manner, you can cure it. Nice.
And we're here with Dr. Hina Gupta, ENT, ear, nose, and throat, head and neck surgeon. Tell us again, you're in Coconut Creek. Whereabout are you located in Coconut Creek? Is there certain intersections?
Oh, it's right by the promenade.
Okay, right by the promenade.
And we have a second office in Pompano. Well, that was our first office. This is our new office. And then the urologist who's part of Broward Specialty Group also has a place in Delray as well.
So, okay. All in the same network.
All in the same network.
Good to know. Now, I had a couple questions also about the ear, and one of them I was looking up was chronic and acute ear disease. Is that a common ailment?
Yeah. So you can have patients like you were mentioning, kids who have one ear infection or multiple ear infections. So you can have anywhere from infections to hearing disorders to balance disorders. All of that is encompassed in ear disorders.
Okay. And is that something that you see a lot more in adolescents, children, or adults, or is it kind of a little bit of everything?
You see the ear infections more in children, and then you see hearing loss more in adults, especially with that aging population we mentioned, and losing hearing as you get older. So it's really varied.
With the ear, I gotta ask, and I didn't talk to you about this beforehand, but you're an ENT. Should we be using Q-tips after?
I knew you were going to ask.
How many people ask you this?
So my response to everybody is you should not put anything smaller than your elbow into your ear.
Smaller than, okay, that's good to know.
So that's I see a lot of patients with wax impactions because not just Q-tips, but people come in with all sorts of things that they admit as I see their ear. They're like bobby pins, there's a lot of different things that people put in their ears. And I tell everybody, please don't put anything smaller than your elbow. And they kind of look at me. And then, usually the old timers give me a joke when I'm looking through their ear, like, oh, can you see right through? And I say, absolutely. So
out the other side?
Yeah.
That's funny because it's hollow. I gotta ask another question, like to release the stigma on this, because when I was in college, people used to do this, not really at parties, more like get-togethers, like people watching movies. So they would take candle wax.
Right, that's called candling.
And pour it down their ear and wait for it to harden and then try to pull it out and get, I guess...
Where'd you go to school? Because I did not have that happen in my college. We did other things. I want to know where you went to school.
I did 2 years in Orlando and 2 years at FAU, but this was up in Orlando in my early years. Okay. I didn't do it though,
All right.
Dr. Gupta.
Okay.
I do use Q-tips though. Have to after the shower.
Okay, so after today, after talking to me.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to try it again. Last time I had an ENT on, I got 3 weeks without using them.
Seriously?
Yeah. That could have been a habit by then.
But 21 days, you're supposed to...
I know. I don't even think I was like craving it. I just did it.
Yeah. Well, I can tell because just like you have sweat glands in certain places, the cerumen glands are only in the outer third of the ear canal. And so
Okay.
when the wax is pushed against the eardrum, it's like a tube. I just know. And so you don't have to tell me or admit to me anything. When I look in your ear, I know you've used Q-tips, and I'll say, "Oh, so you've used a Q-tip? Oh, doc, I only used it on the outside. Believe me." And I'm like, "Okay, no problem." But
It's good to know. Now, you said you find a lot of, people come to you with a lot of things in their ears. What about the nose? Same thing?
Well, I mean, nasal congestion, difficulty breathing, runny nose. This is common. And, commonly you start off with your primary care doctor, but allergies are a huge, it's even growing more and more patients having chronic allergy issues. So that's probably the number one thing I see the most, is nasal conditions.
Okay. And then I have to ask you about the throat, too, and I'm going to kind of localize this to myself. So I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan. I just came back from Fenway.
Too.
Are you really?
Yeah, but I know. Did they
Just came back from
a...
Fenway Park. I was up in Boston for 2 shows.
Wow.
And I did Seattle 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Fenway Park was my 27th show this past Tuesday. Anyways, Eddie Vedder over in London during the summer, at the tail end of a show, his voice started going. I've never heard his voice sound, subpar.
Right.
And I'd heard about it, read about it. Long story short, when I heard the recording, it all fell in. He had to cancel the next day because for the first time in his life, the doctor on board on the tour said, "Hey, you sing tomorrow. You guys play London tomorrow. You may never sing again." So they had to cancel the show. He got his voice back like 3 days later. They ended up touring through Europe and came back and did the show a month later. Now, obviously, you don't probably see a lot of singers. You probably see a few here and there, but what are some of the voice disorders that can happen from like talking or singing or yelling? Does that really exist with the common person?
Absolutely. I see a lot of professors. I've seen,
oh wow,
who speak every day, teachers. I see local singers, and whenever I see one, I say, "Well, let me hear you sing, so I know that you're actually what you are." But yeah, no, we see people with hoarseness because of many different reasons. Acute laryngitis or acute hoarseness. But then if you have people who overuse their voice, they can get polyps, nodules. You've heard of singer's nodules.
Yeah, I think that's what he had.
Right.
Something like that. I didn't really see the whole diagnosis, but if I find it, I'll send it to you. Knowing that you're a fan, that's awesome. That really is. I saw him in Chicago 2 years ago, too, at Wrigley Field.
Wow. We saw you too at Wrigley Field.
Whoa, I've never seen you two. They're on my list. Man, I wanted to see them in '92 on the Zeropa tour, but I was a little young. My dad wouldn't take me. Sorry, Dad, to call you out if you're listening. I also want to ask you, head and neck tumors. Now, that's something that an ENT can help. And what exactly is a head and neck tumor? Is that something, obviously, that develops on the outside of the skin or inside?
Both.
Oh, really?
And so you can have like a lump or a neck mass. Sometimes people can notice something when they're shaving for men, or they feel something. It can include anything like salivary glands, the glands that supply saliva. That it can. The most common cancer is squamous cell cancer, and that can come from anywhere in your aerodigestive tract. But there's a lot of different types of lipomas, neuroma, different types of tumors that can present in the head and neck area.
Do you see a lot of the squamous cell in South Florida because of, we're always at fun in the sun kind of lifestyle?
So that's squamous cell cancer of the skin, which is a separate type of, that's a skin cancer. So squamous cell carcinoma of the head and neck is a little bit different. But that's more from smoking, drinking, and then now there's a whole subset from HPV or human papillomavirus. So those are the two main reasons.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate that. And head tumors as well, so on the interior of the head, but not the brain?
Not the brain.
Okay.
Not the brain.
But actually, I guess that would be, attached to the...
Well, you can have, skin cancer that presents as lymph nodes in the neck. That's not common. But normally, when we're talking about head and neck tumors, it can be both malignant or benign.
Fantastic. Now we're here with Dr. Hina Gupta, ENT, head and neck surgery. We just talked a little bit about that. What is the name of your practice in Coconut Creek?
ENT medical specialist,
Okay.
and I'm part of South Florida ENT, which is a large group of ear, nose, and throat doctors in South Florida.
Fantastic. And you have a website as well? That's where I got some of this info.
Oh, great. I'm glad you went to the website.
Yeah, it was great. They got a great layout, ton of info.
Oh, good.
And that's what you want, because people are, I'm telling you, people research nowadays. They
Right.
go on, they get comfortable.
Right.
I have, I know from the marketing research, people watch videos. That's why this shows does pretty well. So people will watch videos and get a feeling for the doctor.
Right.
Physician videos as well. So that's important.
The website is mybrowardmd.com.
Thank you. My Broward, like the county, MD.com.
Yep.
Perfect. And did you want to give out the phone number as well?
954-943-1133.
And I will mention that again before we go. I also wanted to ask you, since I have you here, I'm like just knocking off questions one after another, but like I said, I don't get an opportunity to interview many ENTs. Are you on staff at a local hospital?
Yeah, I'm on staff at Broward Health North.
Nice.
On Sample 95, and then at Coral Springs Medical Center.
Okay.
And I was on staff at Northwest. I was actually at West Boca too, but right now
Wow.
at those two.
Yeah,
That's
Coral
where I
Springs
was.
Medical Center. I know the CEO, Jared Smith. When I met him at Delray Medical Center when he was there. So I'm glad to see him over there. That's great news. And I used to have an office right next to Broward Health Imperial Point.
Oh, okay.
I know you're not at that one. You're at the one a little bit north of that.
Right.
But that's a great hospital as well where you're at. So we're here with Dr. Hina Gupta. I wanted to ask you also, I luckily didn't have strep throat too many times, but if someone does, I mean, normally at that age, that's what about like 11, 12, when it really can become a problem and people would have to have their tonsils out. Is that something that you help with as well?
Absolutely. So, yeah, if you have numerous infections, then you're going to at some point need your tonsils out. But the criteria has gone up and up. Like probably when 30 years ago, they were taking tonsils out more frequently than they are now. But
Okay.
if you, back before then, it was more common than it is now. But if you're getting recurrent infections, then absolutely. And
Now-
it's not just in that age group too. It can present at a younger age, or sometimes I even see people in young adulthood who didn't have it done prior and they're still having recurrent infections.
Okay, yeah. I never wanted strep throat, but the few times I had it, I kind of wish I was able to go to the hospital so I could have ice cream.
Right.
Is that something that they still do?
Popsicles, all
Popsicles.
the popsicles that you want.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, I'm glad that I never had it, though. But now, would, say a parent's listening or viewing, and their child has a sinus issue, or maybe even something that looks maybe like strep throat, like a nasty throat virus. I don't know if it's a virus. Is it a virus? Strep throat?
Bacteria.
Bacteria, okay. There's a difference.
But it's very common to have viral pharyngitis.
Now,
Like
would-
viral sore throats are very common. But they're self-limited.
Would they just call your office at 954-943-1133 and schedule an appointment with you, or would they have to be referred by a primary care physician?
Well, it depends on your insurance nowadays.
But they
right?
can call and ask that question.
Absolutely.
Your staff could help them
Absolutely.
out. Okay, that's good to know. And it's mybrowardmd.com. That's a great website URL. Hold on to that one. For sure. We're here with Dr. Hina Gupta. She is an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and a head and neck surgeon. Why did you decide to become an ENT? The million-dollar question.
I liked doing surgery, but I really liked following through with one disease state and offering all the options. Nowadays, it's like sometimes patients feel like a pinball where they are referred from one doctor to the other, and ear, nose, and throat allows you to do everything in terms of medical management, surgical management if needed. And that, ultimately it's very satisfying when you take care of somebody and somebody feels better at the end. When you actually help somebody, it's, you can sleep well at night, so.
Speaking of sleeping, do you do sleep medicine as well?
I do some sleep medicine. Like,
Okay.
for example, we were talking about tonsils. Taking tonsils out is more, it's becoming more common in sleep apnea patients, even in children.
Well, I'm going to check my insurance and call your office because I think I need an ENT. because I have a couple of those ailments. We have less than a minute left, and I just wanted to ask you one last question. I always ask doctors, what are your hobbies and passions in life outside of medicine?
I love traveling.
Oh, me too.
You do?
Yeah.
I love traveling. I'd like to kind of see the world. As soon as my kids are, not fighting all the time and are, not little tiny toddlers anymore, I'd like to take them to all the national parks. I love traveling.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thank you for coming on the program. We'd love to have you on again. I really appreciate all the info. It's Dr. Hina Gupta. She's an ear, nose, and throat doctor. MyBrowardMD.com, 954-943-1133. Check her out, and we'll see you next time on the How to Stay Healthy show.
For a prescription to better health from the top doctors in the medical fields of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care, join us each week on the How to Stay Healthy show.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
That's still funny. Freeman, or Mark Freeman, down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery. We are having Art Walk tonight. It is September 7th, and from 6 to 9, you need to be down here. If you're not here, that's a shame, and shame on you. Here tonight with me is our new Director of Sales and Marketing. This is Michelle Eustace, right? Eustace Cancro.
Yes.
Who not only is our new Director of Sales, she is also an artist herself, and so she has I think an uncanny ability to know what a customer's needs and desires are and to match that with an artist's work. And since we have 77 artists here, 11,000 square feet of space, this is a particularly adept. Yeah, I think it's a unique opportunity for anybody. Tell me about yourself. I mean,
I've got 20 years in the art industry, and it's been directing galleries as well as selling art and dealing with clients. I go into homes and do consulting and offer my opinion on what will look good in your home. But I do, as Mark said, have a unique perspective because as an artist, I know color, I know style, and I look at what clients' styles are and what they like and what they have and what, and I listen to what they say.
Sure.
So it helps me to try to match the art with the person, and in the end, my hope is that they purchase what they are in love with.
Sure.
And that's the whole realm of what I'm looking for.
Well, I mean, you know as well as I do that I can't make somebody like a piece of my art. A piece either touches you or it doesn't. Exactly. Now, I mean, there are plenty of pieces that have touched me that I don't want to buy necessarily and own the rest of my life. But I think particularly, I mean, you know that when you see a piece and it, I guess from an artist's point of view, if I can keep a piece to 85% of completion in my brain, I allow the viewer to pull in the other 15%, and there's an ownership that takes part. And so I think you have a great idea of hearing what the person's wanting and matching them with an artistic styling. And I think it's one of the real neat things the Heart of Delray Gallery offers is your willingness to go down to someone's home with 10 pieces and to see what fits, in a home show in their environment.
Yeah, I think it helps for someone. A lot of times somebody will come in and they'll see maybe a couple of pieces that they like, even if it's 2 or 3 pieces for one particular spot. But if they can't envision it, some people are not visual people. If they can't envision it in their home, in their space, it's hard for them to make a decision. And especially if you're going to spend a couple $1,000s or $10,000 or $3,000, whatever, if you can't envision it in your spot, it's hard for you to make that decision or pull that trigger. Yeah. If I'm capable of going there and giving my 2 cents and bringing those couple of pieces out and letting them see what it looks like, that gives them the comfort of feeling like they made the correct decision. And that's really what it's all about, is making sure they're comfortable with their purchase. And also what I always tell the client is, I really want you to look at this piece 5 years from now and feel like, I'm so glad I did this. Yeah. And for
it's
us,
an integral part of your life.
Yes, and for us as the Heart of Delray Gallery to be able to offer that service and to be able to say that we will do that and help make sure that you're comfortable with the purchase that you're about to make, I think that's a huge thing.
I think it's everything. I really do.
Yeah, and we have so many artists and so many styles to choose from.
Yep. Speaking of which, your latest work is actually a collaboration with Clemente.
Clemente Mimon, yes.
And this happens to be it. I think, it's a beautiful piece called Circle of Life, correct?
The Circle of Life, yes. I did the background to this piece, and I was actually going to do something else, and Clemente came into the gallery basically to meet me. Yeah, and he walked into the studio and he said, I want that canvas. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So anyway,
sure.
After a while, we decided to do this collaboration, and he actually did the foreground, and this was it.
Incredible.
Yeah, we're both very pleased with it. Hopefully we're going to do something else, but this is the first one, so I'm very pleased with it, and so far we've had a really good response to it.
Yeah, you should have. Clemente's one of the artists down here, probably a 75-year-old French
Clemente's been in the gallery for the whole time, right. But he's been painting for over 50 years. Yeah. He's originally from Tunisia, South Africa,
really?
And he still has art in that area. He's been painting since his father actually had a gallery when he was younger.
Had no idea.
So he's been painting his entire life, and I think he's 81 this year. Yeah. So But that's kind of the cool thing about this gallery is having all of these artists
absolutely
doing
true.
collaborations and having the ability to do that, because we're not the only ones who have done this. Mark Dane and Jay Harmon have done a collaboration,
Yep.
and I'm hoping that other artists will do collaborations, because the combination of having everybody with all of these creative ideas get together and give their, couple of cents in there and create something new and exciting that you wouldn't have been able to do alone is really cool. And that's one of the great things about having all these artists and having these studios in here is you have the ability to have everybody talk to each other.
Yeah, you do.
And one of the things that caught me so much about this gallery when I first started was that everybody is so positive with each other.
Oh, you're right.
And everybody gives each other a lot of support. I haven't heard anything negative. It's such a positive Zen situation that the ability for collaboration is that much more than anywhere else.
Well, I think there's a lot of humility. I mean,
Yes.
I know, having had an advertising agency for 25 years of my life and trying to get a bunch of artists and to make the best idea. My best idea, enhanced by your thoughts on it, whether
Right.
I use them or not, can only be better.
Yeah.
A new idea changes your mindset. It's only going to expand.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so I think it's pretty neat here myself that I'm dealing with somebody. I have a degree 35 years ago, but I haven't been painting for my living but for the past 2 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And to have somebody who's been doing it for 35 years ask my opinion on a piece,
Yeah.
and to actually value it, it's nice to know that your artistic perspective and
Right.
I guess just your inherent artistic. Well, it's talent. It's not.
Yeah,
it's a gift on loan.
It's just everybody's creative process is going together and everybody clicking in onto each other and giving your 2 cents here and your 2 cents here, and what you end up with ends up being so much better than it might have been if it was just on your own.
No doubt. No
You
doubt.
know?
That's one of the things also, I volunteer down here on Tuesdays and Fridays as a docent because it's 11,000 square feet of space. It's a daunting,
It's a huge
people walk in
space.
here and go, where do I begin? Well,
Yeah.
on Tuesdays and Fridays, I'll walk you around.
There you go.
It's an opportunity for me to tell you about other work here. And I find myself, every time I walk in this door, and I'm down here 3 and 4 times a week, every time I walk in the door, the hair on my arm stands up. And there's a palatable energy.
It's a very powerful energy when you
really
walk
is.
through the door. And we do offer tours
Right.
from other, spaces as well. I mean, if you wanted to bring in a big group of people, we'll do a tour.
Michelle, you're very much an extroverted people person, and I think that's one of the reasons we connect is that, I love the interaction between the people. Yes, I love selling artwork, but honestly,
Well, you like to talk to the
it's
people who
about
come in
heart.
and tell everybody, talk about the artwork that's in here and talk about all the people that are here. It's nice to show everybody what we have.
Yeah.
And we're excited about it. So that's the whole thing, is letting everybody see our excitement about this space and everything that's in here.
I asked Jean, who's going to be on here in a second, Jean Bilbo, to grab one of Michelle's works. This is not a collaboration. This is hers unto herself. And I wanted to at least give you some perspective. She does some incredible, vibrant, really, it's funny because a piece like this is abstracted, to a degree.
Totally.
I see little things and characters and things, and it's one of the things I like about well-done abstract art is any one space takes on a life of its own depending upon the viewer at the time. And
And that's the whole thing about abstract art is what I see, what you see, what Gene sees, what the client sees is all totally different. Dan is the owner of the gallery, and Dan was giving me his opinion of this piece earlier, which I'm not going to continue with at this moment. His opinion of what part of the piece looked like, I was kind of like, okay, alrighty then. But my perspective of it's called Out of This Universe, and it was like my happy place because I'm very much a color person: purple, red, yellow, bright, royal, rich colors.
Still on?
So,
Yeah. We still on, Freddie? We still on? Let's make sure. Okay. Because the screen went black. I just want to make sure. Yeah, that's cool.
But like you said, when you look at something, every time you look at something, you see something different, and there's been a couple pieces that I've done where people have seen faces or this or that, and it's not intentionally done. It's just whatever comes out at the moment, and it is what it is.
I understand completely. Well, I wanted to make sure that they got shown as well.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, because I think your work is stellar into itself, and I know that part of what Michelle said is right. That ideally in my studio space, I have 4 walls. I'd have 4 pieces in there. I would have them silhouetted by themselves. That's how it's going to view in
Right.
someone's house. But I've got 17 pieces on my wall. So it's nice for you to have the opportunity to recognize someone's appreciation of a palette or
Right.
subject matter, and to be able to take that into their environment and see if their mind's eye and that piece
Sees the
meets,
same, exactly. Yeah.
I oftentimes, it's nice when you connect with somebody, whether they buy your work or not, but to see something and to tell you a story about what they see in that piece.
And that's exactly it, is for somebody to see a story or have some kind of a connection to the piece. And that's typically why they buy it, because it's what they're purchasing is they're coming in, they're seeing the piece, they're making a connection, and they're kind of taking the painting home as a memento of their experience here in the gallery. And that's what it's kind of all about.
And I've had piece where a woman said, "Oh, that reminds me of me and my brother laying in the grass, looking up at the stars in Kansas." Well, I've been through Kansas, but that was not the inspiration for this piece.
No, but that's what they
how
see.
Cool that
they
she
brought
finished that off in her mind, and it became, a real, a tangible part of her existence. I mean, that's really cool.
And that's why somebody buys a piece, to take that home and have that memory stick out in their head. And that's what art is. It's a memory. It's something that connects with somebody, and that's really the thing that makes it important.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Well, Michelle, it's been a pleasure having you on. And
thank you, Mark.
Yeah, people want to get in touch with you. Get in touch with you how?
They can either come see me at the Heart of Delray Gallery. They can email me at theheartofdelraygallery.com. Michelle is with one L, Michele. Or they can call me, and that number is on our gallery website.
Absolutely. And again, Heart of Delray Gallery is at 1440 North Federal in Delray Beach, and it's a one-of-a-kind place. It really is.
You will not see anything like this anywhere in Florida.
I've truly had people drop by and said, "Oh, God, I'll drop by." I know they're doing me a favor. What they truly walk away with is, "Oh my God, I had no idea what I was walking into." And that's really the blessing of this place.
Yes, it is.
So glad that you're affiliated with it.
Right.
I mean, really.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.
We'll bring in our next.
Let's bring
artist
Jeannie
here.
in.
Yep. I'm gonna treat you out.
Okay.
If I may.
Absolutely.
Yep. Be careful with that.
Yep.
Mark Freeman, I'm at the art walk at the Heart of Delray Gallery. And if you're not here, I'm sure sorry for you. Gene, you got 2 of your pieces bringing in? We're down here at Art Walk at the Heart of Delray Gallery at 1440 North Federal in Delray Beach. All right. You want them, line up, sit side by side? Yeah.
I've been painting it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whoops. Okay, am I gonna? I don't want anything that's named. Like, very good. Did you take some pictures? Yeah. You got it. Nothing corporate. Here. Hand over. There. All right. This is live television. Things like that take place. It's a good thing. Yeah, I'm here now with again Marion Freeman down at the Heart of Delray Gallery. This is Jean Bilbo, who is one of our artists down here. She's a pretty consistent face down here. I think Jean, you're here every day, aren't you?
No, I'm here Tuesday through Friday.
Tuesday through Friday. Well, you're here every day I come in. How's that?
Yes, that's right. I am.
I guess that means neither one of us are here often on Saturday.
No, never.
Jean, tell me about yourself and about your art.
I began painting seriously about 15 years ago, although always as a child I was doodling and drawing and was always drawn to any creative endeavor. My mother taught us all the domestic arts. Every evening we were either knitting, crocheting, sewing, doing something with our hands. Yeah. So I come by it naturally, but I also recognize it as a talent. And I've been in Florida for about a year and a half, and I've been at the gallery since January. I have a studio space, gallery space, so I actually paint when I'm here. I no longer have a studio at home. So I do all my work here, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you do a lot of work too.
Yeah,
really
I do.
Jean is a wonderful soul who I think you're kind of in like myself. I mean, you're unleashing your creative talents and this is where your heart has always been.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I did advertising, but this is where my heart has always been.
Yes.
This is one of your most recent pieces. Actually, it's still a piece in works, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. This is a work in progress. But when I came at first to the Heart of Delray Gallery, I was doing more realism, and then it moved to abstract impressionism, and now I find myself just going way the other way towards abstract painting.
That's a technical art term. Exactly, absolutely right.
When I a lot of the things that you'll see in my gallery, our layered works, several layers of paint, and a palette knife, which gives you a lot of texture. This is totally different. This is with a brush, and it's basically just 1 or 2 coats of paint. And I just start with my color palette. I decide on the colors I'm going to use, and I don't draw it first because I'm not quite sure where it's going.
Yeah, I understand that.
And but I'm having a blast doing these. This is a diptych, which means that it shows best together, and you would usually you'd leave more space between it than this just small space. You can leave 3 to 5 inches is really the norm. I have a lot of small walls in my gallery. This way I can display a larger piece, but I can, put it several different ways on the wall.
Well, one of the things you do, I know particularly, and you've influenced me in this case, is you pay a lot of attention to edge finishing.
Yes, yes.
And so if I may, and one of the things, if this is
Yeah.
a ways apart, you'll notice how Jean finishes the edge, and so these actually are quite striking apart because you see the edge of this.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I think that's, it's one of the finessing touches that Jean
Yes.
adds to her art.
Yes.
I've kind of always been a little bit of a little bit like whatever runs off the edge is cool, but that's true in some cases. A lot of cases it's not. So
Yeah, well, I think on some of my pieces that were with more layers and things, I feel better about that. But I like it when it comes off the edge because a lot of times when you walk into a room, you're viewing art, not straight on.
Sure.
So I like when the edge is also artistic and beautiful, and especially with the diptych, it just makes it blend together.
Well,
Yeah.
from my point of view, honestly, you've made me see that, again, in my advertising life, attention to detail is everything. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how you let a client know that you truly cared about a piece
Right.
was your attention to detail.
Right.
In this case, I've grown to truly believe that that working on that edge, considering it as an integral piece of that
Yes.
piece of work, it makes a huge difference. And so you've changed my perspective on that. So you've been a great influence.
Well, what's interesting is when I started taking lessons and meeting with groups of creatives when I lived in Tennessee, we were all working on gallery wrap canvas like this, and there wasn't anybody that wasn't painting the edge. So I never knew it was an option.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of creative license, but it's just the way I started. And who knows? I get bored easily, and art's a good place for just changing things up.
And speaking of which, while we are at Delray Beach, Florida, she's from Tennessee and I am too, so we have a great Tennessee contingent here right now at this table.
That's right.
Go Vols.
That's right. Go Vols.
I
Yeah.
had to.
Hope it's better this weekend.
Yeah, I hope so too. Jean's work, a lot of her works actually remind me of having a very kind of Van Gogh-esque touch to them. It's your palette knife work, but I really, I've become a huge fan of your work. I liked your work when I first saw it, but as I've seen you grow and do different things, it's really given me appreciation for other pieces as well. I mean, seeing what you're doing here I've seen you meticulously work on some of your trees or
Right.
or bouquets. Just some incredible works, and I really think no picture can do it justice. To come down here to the gallery,
Yeah,
1440
come
North
see
Federal,
us.
at the Heart of Delray Gallery. Jean's here quite often. I know that everybody here is pleased and proud to show their work to you, and I count you as a great friend and a comrade.
Thank you.
And a peer.
A good
Absolutely.
duet
Yeah.
partner.
Well, there you go. That's right.
So
Absolutely.
we sing to the music.
Yeah, that's right. We do. Yeah, that's right. We've got some great crooner music in here, and so we can't help doing a little Frank and whoever. Nancy.
Whoever. Yeah. Frank and Nancy. That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here, Jean.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Thank you,
Hope this was
Mark.
comfortable for you.
Oh, it's fine. It was fine. Yeah.
So glad you're here. Who do we have coming on next?
We've got Ned next.
All right, excellent.
Yes.
Good. Excellent. You got him? Yeah. All right. So glad you came on. Again, I'm Mark Freeman. I'm Marion Freeman in the art world, but my friends call me Mark, so let's suggest you all call me Mark. Ned, come on up. Yeah, come on, man. Down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery at Art Walk. We're down here from 6 till 9 p.m. It's a great gallery, 11,000 square feet of space, 77 artists. We'll talk to 8 or 10 of them tonight, one of which is my friend here, Ned, and it's Molten, right? Right. Will it stay? Yep. I will help us. I think it's out of frame there. I'll tell you what, let's see if we can't, even if I just hold it here. This is a great example of Ned's work, and I know we're against let's see, I want to get it against a white background for half a second. Ned does these three-dimensional pieces, particularly, obviously you do things besides horses, I assume. No?
I'm sorry,
Am I
what?
assuming, do you do subject matter besides racehorses? Or?
Yeah, it's purely a fluke that I ever did a horse.
Really?
I was doing sailboats, and one day Nancy my wife was reading a paper, and I was looking at the picture upside down, and basically what was is horses with legs that were more interesting than the sails.
How interesting.
And so I started doing that, and people liked it, and so I sold them.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I've kind of fallen into things myself,
You've
but
fallen into it,
yeah, I mean, you find yourself.
Right.
I know that. I think I guess Gene mentioned earlier about not quite knowing where a canvas is going to lead you. Right. There's times I sit with a canvas in front of me, and my wife will say, "What is it?" And I've said, "It hasn't told me yet." And so I'll find myself thinking a piece is going to be a water piece, and in fact, it's going to be a space piece. So how interesting that you get that.
It tells you.
Yeah, it
Sometimes
does.
The work tells you.
No, there definitely is a symbiotic relationship there. We do the best we can with what we're working on. Well, what are these made of?
This is made out of genuine tree wood.
Okay. It's all organic.
It's
I mean, is it a?
it's a compressed board.
I
of
wonder if
some-
it wasn't. Yeah.
And it's only that because I couldn't get the plywood that I wanted or whatever.
Gotcha.
And I started doing something on different material, and it was sturdier. Actually, what it is a material they made for sign painting to go outdoors that wouldn't warp.
Excellent.
And that would be tougher than any kind of plywood. So I just lucked into that also.
Yeah. So these actually probably could be actually
They could
used
be outside.
outside. Yeah.
they could be
How
outside.
interesting. Yeah.
And not only that, there's a coat of resin over them, and resin is a barrier to light. So
Well, to light and to water and everything. I mean, it's really. I believe it.
okay, actually, I guarantee these for a lifetime.
Yeah. Very good.
But the problem is,
that's
it's
excellent.
my lifetime.
Well,
So it may be only a couple of years.
let's hope you hang around for a while. I like the idea, though. Yeah, guaranteeing your artwork for your
Yeah,
lifetime.
or I could. I was thinking about if I wanted to sell these things with a guarantee, I could guarantee the guarantee, but I don't know about the artwork.
There you go. Too funny. Ned, I know I've met you a couple of times. You down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery, also exhibiting only in the Brooklyn Cafe studio here
That's the only thing I have
right
there,
now.
yeah,
Yep. And you've got a piece over here on the wall as well. Ned's work. It's funny because I'll know somebody's artwork before I know them, and so
absolutely,
I had seen your artwork down here and seen a lot of people come in and express a great deal of interest in them. The real cool thing is to me, having been in commercial art for a long time, there's a certain illustrative commercial aspect to them. But the painterly aspect of the tonality and everything, I mean, it's really, I love the conglomerations of glitter and of three-dimensional surfaces. And
I just let it go. I started doing them, and they evolved into that.
very cool. I love the pieces a whole lot. You can certainly see these down at the this is the Brooklyn Cafe studio. It's in the Heart of Delray Gallery at 1440 North Federal. You have anything? You don't have any other pieces here, do you?
No, and you know what? It's
You have a website?
No, I don't even do that. But
Yeah.
I'm sure same thing as you or anybody else. You do 100 different things before you get to whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I'm born in Miami, and I started selling paintings down there when I was about 35 years old. But I started drawing on the streets of Miami.
Really?
I literally, as a little kid, drawing chalk pictures. I had a picture of an airplane, my mother tells me. I was about 3 years old, and I drew it on a road, and she said I was out there holding traffic up. So I was an air traffic.
funny.
I was an air traffic controller. I was a traffic controller.
You were probably a traffic hindrance.
Yeah.
How cool, though. I mean, you knew what you wanted to do.
I knew what I wanted to do when I was 3 years old, and that's pretty much all I've done. Although I did everything you have to do to support yourself until you can sell enough of it to support you.
Absolutely.
And I only decided to be a full-time artist because I didn't want my grandkids saying, "Oh yes, he's a teacher, but he's an artist."
How funny. It's funny hearing Gene talk also. My mother did ceramics when I was growing up, and I always had a coloring book. So I always now I did not color inside the lines. I always tried to add some shadowing and stuff like that to pieces. But I find myself looking back, I was exposed to arts in all fashion throughout my life, whether it was music or painting, or at one time having started off in architecture, I did a lot of architectural renderings, things like that. So I have a real hard-edged geometry, kind of a math science geek edge to me. But the free spirit comes out when I start doing paintings. I just it's unavoidable.
I think I'm working toward doing the architectural thing. I'm going to do a cutout of the Brooklyn Bridge, that thing there.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a three-dimensional piece that we're going to use on a wall piece here or somthing.
Yeah. I like that. That would be really interesting.
It could be a piece of crap.
I doubt that. I have a feeling I can judge from the quality of the craftsmanship that we put into it. So, I'm delighted you're down here, Ned, and it's awfully great to have made your acquaintance and get you some publicity, because these things, I know that you've sold 6 or 7 of them since I've been here.
It's amazing. People buy them even though, they're just made out of tree wood.
Yeah. Well, somebody I know was down here earlier who was visiting, just moved here from Kentucky. And the first thing she said was, I was drawn toward the horses. So, horses have a love. There's a lot of horses down here too, but being from Tennessee and Kentucky and...
Kentucky.
I have a feeling you've got some good fans,
Yes, I have a lot of fans out in Kentucky.
I'll bet. Ned, great to have had you on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have a website? No.
No, you know what?
Come down and see Ned Moulton here at the Heart of Delray Gallery, and if nothing else, we can leave him a Post-it note and have him call you. And
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm going to be doing a little show here, or part of a show for him, that I'm going to be trying to teach people who are interested in art, in how to get wherever they want to go in the field.
Gotcha.
Stuff that I've learned all these years.
Absolutely.
I'd like to pass it on.
Yeah, it's not a streamlined procedure. I mean, I run into people at Michael's who ask me that too. You're an artist. How do you sell your work? And this gallery, incidentally, is a great opportunity, because I've turned on a few artists down here who, they're burgeoning artists. They don't know if their work's viable, and have said, look, I'm involved with this gallery. Come down, rent a relatively small space, put your pieces up, and see if you have any interest. That's a great way for you to know whether you can make a living at this. So, your tutelage as well as.
Well, I've been doing it for I've been making a living at it for about 50 years. I have never met 2 artists who made a living the same way.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
Everybody had a different kind of thing that they did and an experience, and I've met all kinds of people who want to sell their work or want to do something, and they don't really know where to go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in doing for the rest of my life.
I got you. Excellent. Well, God bless you. Your mentoring, I'm sure, will help some people get their works out there. Yep. Again, pleasure to meet you, Ned, and to see you again. But we'll get somebody else. All right. Pleasure.
Alrighty.
I will see you again.
Okay.
All right. Who's up next? Is this Tony or Ned? Jay, Yeah. Come on up, brother. We've got a whole slew of some very talented artists in front of my eyes, so it's hard for me to, they're all Picassos in my book. Oh, I forgot about this piece. Cool, Jay. Well, let's see your average work first, I guess. There is no such thing as average work. It's funny, Jay and I are good friends on Facebook and on Instagram. Jay's work is, I will oftentimes say, oh, that's typically, it's exceptional as usual, and not trying to sound smug about it or anything, but this is Jay Harmon. Jay Harmon is one of the guys who've been down here at the gallery, I guess the entire time as well. I was here 3 weeks before it opened, but I think you've been here 2 weeks after it opened at the very least.
Something like that. Yeah.
Jay is doing that's you. It is. That's yours. Jay's doing a series of pieces. Well, I just wanted to. I don't want you to not be able to talk. I wanted to have the show.
We can just move it on right there. I don't care.
This is a piece, I'm guessing, from the looks of it, it's John Lennon, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool piece. You've been working on this kind of, fragmented?
Fragmented, that's a good name. I like that. Fragmented is a good name. It's a whole style that I do. I do several different styles, but this is one of them, and I like to do mainly portraits, pets, animals, people.
Yeah. Jay's work is incredible, and honestly, again, somebody, I guess, I don't keep harking back to my experience in the advertising agency, but it plays into this because we would oftentimes do comps or compositions of pieces, and we would use markers or colored pencil to sell a concept to somebody.
Right.
So, I've had a whole lot of experience with colored pencils and markers, and Jay's work is exceptional. I mean, you'll do a pet portrait that is so, I feel like tangibly I could touch its fur. I mean, just every little hair is drawn in there. And just
That's the idea. I like to make them look, as real as I can, because people would, if you want your pet made into a portrait, you want it to look like your pet, and a lot of times
even bad hair days.
I mean, yeah, and a lot of times people have their pet portraits made from pets who have passed, and it makes a really nice memorial, and for.
I know that Jay was a teacher at one time, and so you taught this for 14, 20 years?
Yeah, 14 years.
Yep, very good. On the middle school level? Or?
Middle school.
Yeah. Jay is also, I know, getting ready to start working with the Milagro Center. Is that correct?
Milagro Center. I'm teaching there every week with middle school students.
I'm hoping to get involved with that also. We met some of the folks who are involved with that, and it's the opportunity for us to bring our skills to really an underserved populace. Particularly a lower economic strata class of child that honestly is probably not getting into school like we did. That's a sad thing.
These are kids that don't have the exposure to art or anything like that, and it's really great so that they can say they get really excited about it because it's something different for them, and it's fun.
Yeah, I've loved. Jay has done pieces from the Beatles to Heath Ledger. And really his work I marvel at, because it's interesting just the individual artist's eye and how works manifest themselves on screen. Particularly with the passing of Burt Reynolds yesterday, I was amazed to see that you had done a piece of Burt and had met Burt, and I wanted to make sure this got out there front and center. This is a portrait that you're square on screen.
There I am.
Yeah. Let's get it. It's angled to the right. Whoops. Now we got it in front of
Now it's in front of you.
Yeah,
okay.
there
I
don't care if it's me. This is a portrait of Burt Reynolds that Jay had done. You said 20 years ago, or
30? Well, in 1987.
Very
so
good.
That was 31 years ago. I had met Burt,
wow.
and he had expressed interest because I told him that I was an artist, and so I did a portrait for him, and he signed it for me. So
that's an incredible piece. Wonderful look. I'm trying to think of what 87. What would have been. What would have been his film?
This was after Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Was,
he looks a little older.
Yeah, he was. He was. Oh golly, he kind of progressed into some other things.
I'm trying to think of his detective series that he had.
Oh yes, he had one that he filmed in Palm Beach County.
Really? That's right. That's right. He was a Palm Beach boy.
B.L. Stryker.
Yep, that's right.
B.L. Stryker.
It looks like about those years.
They filmed all the episodes right here in West Palm Beach.
I was interested to see that. Like I said, Facebook is a common connection. I didn't realize that he had been a Palm Beach high school graduate. And,
yes, he was.
I mean, he was a Palm Beach county guy all the way.
He went to Palm Beach Junior College at the time, and I did too. And I met him. I was in theater at the time, and he came in, and I got to meet him at that time, and
Isn't that marvelous?
It was great.
I'll bet.
He is a wonderful guy. I just can't say enough about him because.
Well, he said in his closing remarks, or at least all he wanted to be remembered for was that he loved what he did. He enjoyed it every day, and I mean, what more could you ask? I mean, that's a legacy that you.
I know.
That's a wonderful.
He was.
Seemed like a good guy. Probably had some rough edges, don't we all?
What? It was great though. He'll be remembered in a good way though.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, Jay, I'm so glad you came on, man. You need to come down and see Jay's work if you're not getting the opportunity to be taught by him. I know Jay. He's done, like you said, a lot of pet portraits, also a lot of portraits of celebrities. But I've had people who've asked me before to do a portrait. Honestly, if you asked me to do one, I would say let me direct you towards somebody who not only would have probably a more fun time about it, but would do an infinitely greater job. I mean, Jay's work is just exceptional. It really is.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm one of your biggest fans.
Well, I hope to be doing, some collaborative work with Mark too. So
that would be very cool. Yeah, that's right. We talked about that. So
that'd be great. So it's so great to be here and and to share my work. Come on down to the gallery and check it out. You'll love it.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Jay.
All right. Thank you.
Man. All right. Sell something out there. Tony, you coming up? Yeah. We've got a very talented young artist. I think you've been doing this a day or two, haven't you, Tony? Tony Scarmata, right?
Exactly right.
All right. Tony is is a relatively new addition to the gallery, but obviously you've been painting for a long time.
Oh, I've been painting all my life.
Yeah. This is Tony Scarmata, everybody. Tony, we're on actually that camera. Scoot up here and talk to. Good to see you, man. I want to make sure you're in the frame. Good. There, we're actually on that camera right there. Tony is. When I first had seen his work go up, Tony's work is work that honestly, it's funny as an artist. I walked by and I thought, I call myself a painter because I saw your work and they were Everglades pieces with such incredible detail. It made me kind of think, oh, Mark, you think you're a painter? But we do quite different things, you know?
A lot of people say, my God, this looks like a photograph.
Well, they do. They really were. And the depth you had.
I've been painting like that all my life.
They're incredible
Try to
works.
change it, loosen up, I can't do it.
Yeah, I understand. Well, when you change things out, you move down your Everglades pieces, and you put up all these old master. Old master still life's the best way I can characterize it.
Yeah,
Do you
still
agree?
lifes. I like doing still lifes.
Yeah.
I enjoy.
I mean, these are so dimensional looking and juicy. I mean, just the way you've captured just the realism there. I mean, truly almost photo real.
Well, I try to work for quality, not quantity.
Well, of course, yeah. You're not a factory.
How long did it take you to do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care.
I have no clue. I've gone back to a painting 2 months later.
Yeah.
Something's bothering me.
Yep.
I can't figure out what it is. And then finally I say to myself, I think I know what it is.
I know exactly.
I gotta fix it.
I've had a piece down here that I said was finished, and then went, oh, no, and had an idea and brought it home, and isn't it funny the way things strike you? But yeah, you know when it's done, though.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Tony's work is down here in one of our, down the row, actually, that's really the artist's
I'm
studios.
a newcomer.
You are a newcomer.
I've been here 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
but
we're glad. My feet wet.
This is not your only place you show, I know. Where else do you show?
I'm in the. I'm a signature member of the Boca Museum Guild.
Very cool. Excellent. Okay. So you're down there as well. Yeah.
In October, I'll start showing there.
Very good.
I've been a member for about 8-9 years, but I never got involved. I'm
Gotcha.
too busy, really.
I understand.
And now they call me up. They wanted me to get involved. And I said, okay, we'll see.
No, you got some great work. And I know a lot of people down there. Emily Greco, who is also here, and there's a number of artists affiliated with the Guild.
Gallery down there.
Oh, it is a very nice gallery. Yeah. And you talking about the new one, the Guild opened
The new
up?
one, yes.
Yeah, I was down there at the opening. It's a lovely place too. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of partial to this one, but I hope to actually be showing at that gallery here soon myself.
Are you a member of the Guild?
I'm not, but I'm going to be. So I met with John. I think was the guy who was the Guild president, or maybe I got the name. Anyway,
there were a few of them up here tonight.
Emily and I know each other very well, and so it's a great another great artist.
Listen, you make everybody feel pretty much at home over here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
I really do.
Well, thank you.
I feel like I know you all my life.
I think in a lot of ways,
that's the way I like people to feel about me when I get a hold of them.
I understand.
That guy, I think I know him since I was a kid.
Well, I mean, honestly, if I had not met you in the context where we met, I'd look at your work and thought, oh, dear God. I mean, I really was kind of in awe. And so it's cool to meet you and figure you're just a regular guy. You're just one of us. I mean, but your work.
I spent most of my life in advertising.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing we have in common that's.
And I enjoyed every day of it.
Yep. Yeah. I always liked the idea of messing with somebody's head.
I just
the psychographics of.
I love the action.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, it's one of those places that if you can't stand the heat, you got no business being in advertising.
That's part of the problem. When I finally sold the businesses,
yeah.
I said to myself, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stand
being idle.
Yeah.
Well, that's
when I started painting again.
You and me both. Honestly, 2.5 years ago, I sold my agency, moved down to Delray Beach, and started painting as a living. I mean, before that, I'd been in.
Well, no, I was painting up north. I was up in the Hamptons for probably about spent about 40 years up there.
But this was after you got out of advertising.
When I was working, I always had a place out there.
Did you? Yeah. I actually never painted much when I was working, partially because I owned the agency, and so I honestly, there were days I remember when I started this up that I was working literally 72 hours straight. I mean, I actually recall falling asleep in a salad with a client one time.
That.
I mean, sitting there talking to him, and next thing I know, I have avocado on my forehead. It's like, oh, dear God, I'm sorry.
When they needed it, they wanted it, you had to produce it, otherwise you'd never hear from them again.
Yeah, we're both old school. We know about the days pre-computer, which was... It was a whole different world there, guys.
So hopefully I think I'm going to enjoy being down here.
Yep.
I like the people wonderful. I mean, you starting with you.
Well, I appreciate that.
So I'm
Thank you,
very
man.
happy to met you.
Well, this place is a jewel. It really is. The ability to sit and talk with folks, and I mean, genuinely have a meeting of the minds. It's nice.
It is.
There's not much bravado here.
Well, they got some nice work in the place.
Yeah, there's some
and he
wonderful
did a
work.
good job putting it together.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's the guy over there we're talking about, Dan Cianciato. He's the brains of this operation. I'm speaking about you. We're talking about how incredible this
there
gallery
he
is.
is.
Yep, the man, the
Good
legend.
thing I didn't say anything bad
Yeah,
about
well,
him.
yeah, I would have stopped you. Well, Tony, it's wonderful to have you down here, and come down and see more of Tony's work. I mean, honestly, you'll be first off hungry after you see these pieces. I find myself wanting to go by Publix for a while.
I got to change. I got a different venue next.
Yeah.
The next.
Well, that's one of the things I've started doing too is changing, just making sure things keep fresh.
Yeah, I put them up for about 2 months. I think it's long enough.
Yeah, agreed.
And I get tired of seeing them myself.
Yeah, I understand. Well, you'd be amazed at the depth of work. Do you have a website? And
Got a website.
yeah, tell us what your website is.
I run the website myself.
Gotcha.
It's scarmato.com.
SCARMATTO.
SCARMATO.
ATO. Okay, one.
And I put that together about 1998.
Wow, so it's been there a while.
Yeah.
It's very good.
And so I do everything myself. I do my own framing, my own photography.
Oh wow.
I run everything.
Well, very good. I mean, that's that way you
I'm
have
a
control.
one-man band.
I understand, man. I understand. We're awful glad to have had you down here, Tony. Pleasure to have met you.
Pleasure.
Likewise, very much so.
Take care.
Look forward to seeing more of your works, man.
Yeah, well, we'll be doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was easy enough.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good to see you, Tony.
You make it easy, man.
Appreciate
Take care.
it. Take care, brother. Hello there, Miss Diana. How are you?
There's the most beautiful.
Isn't she though?
beautiful artist in the
Yeah,
whole
I started
place.
seeing it. She's the best work of art here. Yeah, I agree. That's God done good.
Thank you.
I don't know. Dawn's a pretty close second. If not, Dawn's pretty cute herself. I'll have to admit it. I'm kind of enamored. This is. I'll try it. Diana Ratavosian? Ratavosian. Okay, I was close. I'm from Tennessee. You're lucky I speak English well. Okay. So anyway, welcome. Good to see you down here.
Good to see you too.
You're not from here.
No, I'm originally from Russia, Moscow. I grew up there.
You're a spy?
Born there. Yeah, my name is, what do we call me here? 007.
There you go. That's it.
Right. 007, right. Yeah, so, originally from artistic family. Everybody dance ballet except me, my daughter, my dad, my mom, my brother.
Really?
Teaching my brother and my father teaching in schools all over the world.
Very good. Yeah.
And okay, so about me, I started painting just recently.
Yes.
A couple of years ago.
Really?
So,
You got such an incredible eye. I mean, I would have had no idea whatsoever that I would have guessed you'd done it for the past 20 years.
No, well, I'm just stubborn, I guess.
Yeah, well, very
when I
good.
want to
Yeah.
get something, it happens.
Very cool. Yeah.
So I thought I could do it, and I tried, and I started painting at home by myself, looking at some YouTube channels, whatever came.
Really?
Some Russian, which
Yeah.
helped. Knowing a couple languages helps, so
Yeah.
you can learn some, like YouTube. What do you call them? YouTubers.
Yeah.
They teach you how to use paint, brushes, and everything.
I'm
you know?
amazed though because when I first came in here, one of the first pieces I saw was your self-portrait with you laying back in the water, and your
Yes.
head is partially submerged and part of your shoulders in the water.
Yes, yes.
And the realism that was there in the water over your shoulder and the little water drops on your shoulder. I mean, I do a lot with water and
Yes,
space things like that.
love your work,
But
yeah.
but honestly, I'm still marvel at what you've got incredible works. I had no idea you'd only been painting for a short while. And this is a great, good piece of evidence itself.
Yeah.
A wonderful piece. I love the musculature that's showing.
Oh, yeah.
And the palette you used and how it's reflected. Still a white horse, but probably not very little white in the painting itself.
Yeah, well, it reflects all the colors in the sky, in the sand, right? So, and it's running, and the wind goes through it. The hair just running, represents the freedom, the power, going ahead, future, living everything at the back.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I have a feeling you feel a connection with the horse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The free spirit and
look in the eyes and.
I noticed. In this piece particularly, you've got him silhouetted in a non-specific background. Do you see? I mean, is this through the desert or on the beach or?
It's to each its own.
Very good. I
you
was
know,
waiting for that. Yes,
it's-
exactly.
Could be anything.
Yeah,
could be
Mars.
Mars.
Okay.
The
Well,
moon.
it's kind of orangey. Yeah.
The moon. Yeah.
No, your works are incredible, and you've done everything from manatees underwater to Christ.
Yes.
To a warrior woman with a.
The goddess of the moon and the hunting.
Okay, very good.
Diana.
Okay, very
Her name
Diana.
is Diana,
Oh,
or
well,
Diana, the same.
I should have figured that out. That makes
Yes.
total sense now.
Yeah, she's my goddess.
They're very good. And as well, matter of fact, the pieces behind us here. Let me just lower it.
I can. Yeah.
That piece is also one of Diana's. You do some pieces that are very. To me, is this wet still? Maybe a little bit.
Not really me.
No, I don't care about me. I'm like the one with
No, that's fine.
piece. You've done some pieces that are very kind of interesting in terms of their what I consider to be, almost Victorian in terms of the costuming and things like that. What's the motivation for those?
Well, growing up in the theater,
Yeah.
an artist,
good, yeah.
I loved all the costumes, and I always was amazed,
Yeah.
and I loved the masquerade, all
Yeah.
the wearing and the not knowing the masks and everything. And
Yeah.
plus, I loved Europe, like all the architecture, so there's everything in it. You
Yep.
can see, and I love the ocean,
Yep.
so you get
so you
the
got
ocean.
everything, literally. Well, Diana's work's down here, and you are often down here working.
Almost every day,
Is
yeah.
this your only studio?
Yeah, I have
Say-
a studio number 10.
Yep, studio number 10. I'm in 5, so halfway down before you get to hers, and I'll point you to her direction. She's a very prolific artist and love to watch you work. I mean, you get very involved, and I like that.
Yeah.
Your daughter's a great soul too down here with you, and
Thank
she obviously has a very flexible body. I mean, she's
Yeah,
she
yoga
could do
teacher,
Yeah, she's
ballet
yoga teacher. Very
dancer,
good.
used to
That's
be
what I'd say.
ballet-
She could be a ballet dancer, couldn't she? Yeah.
She teaches yoga, yeah.
Very good. It's wonderful to have you down here and to count you as part of our family.
Yeah,
are
wonderful
most
to
grateful.
be here. Thank
Yep,
you. Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you.
Look forward to seeing more work from
All
you.
right. You
All
got some paint on
I
you.
know. Well, I always have paint.
I had the sides
No,
a little bit.
I don't agree with that. I mean, I always have paint on my ring of fingers or something. It's funny because I don't. Mechanics have grease under their fingernails. Artists have paint all over their hands.
Exactly. We're like them.
Yep. So glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Who else do I have coming up here? Gene? Well, I got you. Well, my name is Mark Freeman. I'm Marion Freeman to the art world. That's my legal God-given name. But I'm down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery at the Art Walk, 1440 North Federal. Down here at the Brooklyn Cafe, which is part of the Heart of Delray Gallery. It's really a creative center. Not only is there artwork here that's you've got 77 artists. Got someone else coming again. 77 artists, 11,000 square feet of space. But also within this space is this radio TV studio, and the opportunity to have artists on here to talk about the various artists' work. And come on in, Bonnie. Great to have you here. Thank you so much, Gene. Again, Gene Bilbo, our Vanna White.
And she's your last person.
Very good. Okay.
Okay. She is our Vanna White.
She is our Vanna.
She's our everything.
It's our Vanna White. Yes.
Did I just run you over?
Yeah. Well.
Did I just run her over?
You gotta make sure the dead's you can't see you.
I know. Well, let me show my phone.
Yeah, that's quite all right. Bonnie Perlman, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
No, pardon the formality, but Bonnie's been here the entire duration of this gallery's opening as well.
Yes. Long time.
Yeah, March 3rd, 2017. So
we're here like a year and a half.
A year and a half
little
now,
more.
and yeah, it's frozen. That's all right. Bonnie is in the premier space here. I think it's. I have my eyes on it. One day I'm going to have the money.
Get your eyes off it.
It's a gorgeous space. Bonnie does. She's very prolific and does a great deal of subject matter. As a matter of fact, this piece behind us here, this a woman in the
Dusk Run. It's called.
It's called what?
Dusk Run.
Dusk
She's running
Run. I
on
love
the
it.
beach.
Yeah. That's her work, as well as this lovely piece here.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at your work.
Oh, thanks.
Being an architectural person who was in architecture, I love the shadowing, for instance, off your beach fences.
Yes, well, that's
And,
what it's about.
I mean, you have got such a knack for realism, but not photorealism per se, because I think your pieces have got more heart. I mean,
right, they're a little
photograph
softer.
oftentimes can't. Yeah, they are.
Right,
and they seem to capture part of your, I guess, your intent is somehow in there, like you said,
guess.
the Dusk Run.
Yeah,
You know?
thank you.
Tell us about this piece.
This is a photo that we took when we went to Venice, And I was always into painting fishing boats. As a matter of fact, the last 2 paintings I've done are fishing boats.
That's right. The one was in
Which is
Solitude,
an odd-
didn't it?
Yeah. One is one is Solitude and Quiet Seas. This one I just happen to like because I like the color of the walls in Italy. You can't beat the structures in Italy.
This
the
around
colors
the
and
Venice area, or
yeah, crossing over like one of the little bridges
Oh,
that
yeah.
were there, and I
Cool.
just happened to see this
How cool.
scene. I know the fishing boats. I know, I like that one.
I'm kind of a science history geek, and there's a whole bunch about the need for a lot of the engineering securing of the sea is rising slightly, and
Yes.
it's causing a lot of problems in Venice.
And how?
So we sure don't want to lose that.
I know, and how. I hope not.
Yeah,
you know,
no, it would
little
be
by little,
it would be an
has
awful
been.
shame, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. People,
Well-
thousands of people come to see Venice, and that would not be. I know when it rains a lot, the streets are flooded.
Yeah. Well, you're living at sea level.
Yeah,
You know, so
exactly.
sea level's going to rise.
Exactly.
I know, Bonnie, you're on not only the Heart of Delray Gallery, you're here, but I know you've also got your own website, correct?
I do.
What is your website?
BonniePerlin.com. And most of my work is on there. The latest, I say the last 30 years worth of work is on there. And there's a little artist statement, and I try to keep it up to date.
Yeah. Well, you've done a whole lot of stuff. You've done celebrities.
Yes.
I know you've done Audrey Hepburn and Marilyn Monroe and Frank Sinatra, and you've bejeweled those pieces so they take on a life. I mean, they have
Yeah.
a dimensionality that's beyond
Yeah.
just a portrait. They're very
Well,
cool.
if they're wearing jewelry, I figured what better way to depict jewelry rather than
jewelry.
paint it is by putting
Absolutely.
the little bling in there.
Yep.
So I put the rhinestones on there. It really shows up nicely on the work.
Well, you've done some lovely like Chanel bottles and Louis Vuitton
Yes.
shoes,
Shoes.
but you've also done some very soulful pieces.
Yes.
I know there's a woman at a dressing table.
Yes,
and combing
my
her hair in the
Golden
morning.
Lady,
Golden
yes.
Lady, very good. You know, just some pieces that are very memorable to me because of just not just the skill, but also I guess I see my mother in that piece. You know what I mean, I can see in your pieces
Yeah, you relate.
glimpses of my life. Yeah, I relate a great
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah,
So-
my work is pretty relatable. I
Yeah, I
find
think
that
so.
people like to buy art that they relate to.
No, that's true.
So-
Now that's funny because I do some pieces that are very stellar and kind of a little cosmically odd.
Yes.
So I guess that means I must relate to some odd people too, though.
No.
No, I know.
You're like Starlight.
Yeah.
But your work is magnificent
Well,
with
thank
the all the different sparkles and textures you use and finishes. I mean, it's very unusual
Well,
and
I
it's
appreciate
very
it.
beautiful.
I try to be nothing. If nothing, I try to be unusual. So,
Why
ta-da,
not?
yay.
Why not?
Bonnie, so glad to have had you on. And
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me on.
anything else particularly you want to? I mean, you mentioned anything new shows or anything that you're going to be in?
Here for
Yep.
the
foreseeable
first
future?
Friday of every month.
Yep.
Actually, I have some work over at the Caspian.
Very good. Yeah.
And my work is here and there. I have actually I have 2 pieces in the New Vegan in one of their little restaurants
cool.
someplace.
Yeah.
And I'm around and I move things around a lot. I wait to see what's showing. What shows are in Miami and magazines. We're featured this month in Atlantic Avenue magazine.
I noticed you've been in there in the past couple months.
Yes.
The really wonderful stuff, and
Yeah.
you need to come down and see Bonnie's work. She's got a good sized gallery
Yes,
herself.
please come. I'm here 6 days a week.
Yep. Well, come down and see her here at the Heart of Delray Gallery. It's 1440 North Federal, and we'll look forward to seeing what your next piece is of.
That's a secret.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Thank
good,
you.
Good to see you again, Bonnie. I'll let you have. We have Katrina coming on.
No.
Yes.
Yes or no?
We have
She
time?
said no.
Yep. Okay. You got it.
Not yet.
It's on. You got time, yeah. Wonderful. All right. Again, live television. Yay! We are here at the Heart of Delray Gallery. This is Art Walk. September 9th. Oh, wow. August, huh? September 7th, 2018. Generalissimo Francisco Franco is still dead. And that's my Chevy Chase homage. Come on. Get in here, Katrina. You look wonderful.
Right.
Welcome. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything like this.
Here is a
Very good.
new piece of art.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Very well. How about you?
Yes.
Katrina Chebatar.
Katrina Chebatar here.
Hey, I got Chebatar right. Yay.
So this is a rainforest.
Very pretty.
Just finished today.
Lovely, really.
Yes, I'm into landscape lately.
Yeah, really? Well, isn't it funny how you kind of go through movements? I know that you were taking some classes on portraiture.
Portraits, yes,
and so
I
you were
still
doing
doing
portraits,
that.
and you've done some very interesting portraiture. I mean, particularly since I'm not a particularly good portrait artist, I see your work and I see your growth in it. It gives me some inspiration to try some more stuff. But you've also done a lot of jellyfish and
Underwater scene,
birds, and I mean, I guess I'm thinking about some of the
birds.
ravens, the kind of the winged animals.
No, that's the goddesses.
Oh, the goddesses? Okay, very good. Well, see, being a god myself, I didn't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, Buddha. If I'm a god, I'm
You
a
don't
Buddha.
get the Buddha belly.
No. Katrina is one of the...
I got the Buddha belly.
Yes, but I think you're great with child. Yes, so that's one of the things that Emily Post said. A man is never to ask a woman is, when are you due? I had an advertising agency, and one time I had a woman come in, a little frail thing, but she was wearing this very big peasant dress, and she was applying for a job. And so I actually said, well, how long do you think you'll work? And she said, until what? And I said, well, until you're wanting to move on to another. I realized it was like, oh dear God. So
Yeah,
so
you
I
gotta
was
be careful there.
And later on, she actually said, "You thought I was pregnant, didn't I?" I said,
Because-
well, your dress is very blousy. It was, and it wasn't the fashions in the early '80s to have something blousy. So
Somebody have a beer belly.
no, she was actually she kind of no, I'm not, and she was actually pretty thin, but I mean the dress didn't show that, So anyway,
So far, 15 pounds. I've
Yeah.
15 pounds.
That's all?
Yeah, that's all.
15 pounds is all you gained.
That's a lot.
No, my ex-wife gained 75 pounds with both our kids. She outweighed me at the height of her pregnancy. She was a tall girl. She was 5'10".
Oh, she looks good now.
No,
I saw pictures. I
this
saw
is my
pictures on
soulmate. This is my
Instagram.
second wife.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, no. This
about wives and
she should have been my wife all along. But my first wife, she actually knew Leslie and I. Leslie was my oldest son's godchild. So the two couples knew each other, and they were actually godparents of my oldest child.
Okay.
So that's how close we were. So that 35 years later, we ended up married.
A lot of history there.
Yes,
right?
a lot of history, but all good.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
let's
tell
go
me about
back
your
to the
piece.
piece
Yes,
of
please.
piece of art.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love this.
Can you see there?
Yes. I'm amazed. You see so much detail. I mean, I can see the water going over moss on top of the rocks.
Dripping.
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful.
Yes, and the
I mean,
rain, yes, mountains.
I really
love it.
like the piece.
I love it, yeah.
The-
It just come out of my head and I start painting it, and today I finished it probably somewhere, maybe a wet spot or something. But acrylic dries very fast.
Yeah.
And I love
well,
working with
at least on
acrylic.
the surface, but sometimes it'll still be wet. This piece is actually, I mean, honestly, I'm truly stopped. This is an incredible piece. This has
One of my favorites. I think this is one of my best ones so
I
far.
think it truly is because of there's such incredible depth here, and the water. You get the sense of this sheer of water in front. This little kind of gossamer thin layer. Incredible.
Actually, this is my first time painting a waterfall, or
Excuse me.
So
Gosh.
I watched a couple of YouTube videos
Katrina.
how to do waterfalls.
Katrina, this is a piece that truly, there's no way that this photograph or the photograph on YouTube or on
Online, yes.
What do we use?
Instagram.
Thank you. I'm old, so I'm prone to forget these things sometimes.
You're not.
But there's no way this could be captured. You have to see this in person, folks. So truly, if you're not down here at the Art Walk, keep in mind a month from now, next Friday, the first Friday of the month, we'll have another art walk. But come down. Katrina is here quite often. Her work is exhibited down here. This is some incredible work that you need to see in person.
Yes, definitely.
You really do.
And
Again,
Bite.
the Heart of Delray. Yeah, that's right. And the Heart of Delray Gallery at 1440 North Federal. Katrina, I'm so glad that you came in. It was nice to have you run in here.
Thank you so
Do we have some more?
Yes,
Do we have? Yeah, excellent. So good to see you, Mama.
Yes,
You
good
take
to see you.
care. Take care. I'll let you have this. I want to get it on you. That is really incredible work, Katrina.
Thank you, Mark.
Wonderful. Who else we have coming on here? Hi, how are you? Oh, I know you guys. I know who you are. I'll tell you what. Let's figure out a way to get you. Tell you what. I'll let you guys cheat. Is that fine? Do a little orchestration here, and we still on. I'm almost like, yeah. Come on in here. Let's see if we can get you up there. I don't think there's a way we're going to get this fully in frame, but...
Ten cuidado atrás porque no.
Huh?
It's up against the piece.
Yep.
I think it needs to be up higher.
Yeah, you did. It is framed well. Please have a seat. We'll have to share microphones. Here, yeah, however you want to do it. That's fine. We'll get close. Come in.
Mark, pull the other mic over.
This one? Yeah, it's on. Top. Okay.
Yeah, just share my mic.
Yeah, that works. All right. Yeah, you can have that. Huh? Is it not on? Tell me how to turn it on. Well, in the meantime, we hot?
Yeah.
Good. Down here, tell me your names again because I know Anthony, correct?
I'm Gina Muxo
Okay, Gina,
Ramos,
okay.
and this is Orestes Bolson.
Oreste? Yeah, very pleasure to meet you. I've met you once before. Yeah, please, have a seat. And yeah, use this mic. I've met you once before when you were down here, actually. One of your pieces had sold. You were bringing down a few abstracts.
Yes, correct.
But this is some of the newest work here in the gallery. Incredibly striking pieces. And you also have done a piece of furniture. I marvel you took a piece like the Mona Lisa and then put her in what looks like a Mardi Gras, attire. I mean,
yes.
Very festive, lovely, exquisite. I don't want to talk too much over it, but I mean, the lovely representation of the skin tones and the softness along with this very flowing and festive coloration. Wonderful, wonderful pieces. You'll see, I guess you have 8 pieces here and then the chair as well.
Yes.
Tell me about yourself, because I think one of the things unusual about you is you are a team.
Yes,
But you're not husband and wife.
No, we're not. We're very good friends. Basically, what we've done is we've collaborated on this series. It's been a little over 2 years, and the series has been going fantastic. Our collaboration is a little different than others in that we both paint all parts of the painting. It's not that one of us does one part and the other one does another. So we actually paint together on the paintings. You can see it on our website, busonmuxo.com. We have
And
some pictures
spell
of
that for me.
It's BOUZONMUXO.com.
Okay. Gotcha.
And another exciting thing that's happening for us is that we were nominated by Bombay Sapphire as a semi-finalist.
Awesome.
In a contest that
That's
they're having
fantastic. Yeah, I knew what they're doing.
to be accepted in Scope. So
Very good.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful,
So,
man. That's fantastic. Good for you.
And anyone can go on there daily and vote until October 26th on the BombaySapphire.com.
On the Bombay site?
Yeah.
BombaySapphire.com. You must do this. You must do this because these people are so... The talent is incredible. I mean, it really is. I've often thought... You've been the source of much conversation. There's some of us who are down here almost every day, and Gene and I, we've said, okay, they're a team, but they're not husband and wife. They're not boyfriend, girlfriend. They're not brother, sister. One must work on the black and white, and one must do all the color. But you guys collaborate all the way around.
All the way around.
That's fascinating to me because as an artist, very good. Yep. As an artist, I fight within my own brain. To think that I could get along with someone else enough to be able to do work with them, that's quite a feat. I mean,
well, we do have our I don't want to say fights, but it's a give
creative
and take.
disagreements.
Yes, disagreements. But I think that's what makes our work even stronger is that we both give our input and we both do have a say in it, and so
that's one of the things. Oh, you're being very diplomatically quiet.
When he has something to say, he says it. But no, we both.
I think we're doing great.
Yeah.
We enjoy the job that we do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely for the next year, I think we're gonna show the new piece that we don't show yet.
No, very good. So you're going to be unveiling something new. Very good. We'll be excited because your work, that's one of the things I marvel at. It's very technically strong. I mean, it's very clean, very, there's no, my work oftentimes is a little bit more freeform. I mean, even your splashes have a kind of reservation or are very intentional.
We're both very picky, very meticulous about our work. So I think that reflects when you see the work. It's very clean. Even though it's abstract, like you're saying, it is very. I don't even know what the word would be, but it's an abstract, but it's very controlled.
The craftsmanship.
abstract, I would say.
The craftsmanship is exquisite. I mean, really, there is. Well, like you said, even with the energy, there's craftsmanship. It's not a Jackson Pollock. It's not. It's something much more controlled and much more. Some of the marbling in the way the colors integrate, just lovely
And
work.
we have some work that's coming up, which I think is gonna, make another impact. It's something totally new that now that you said marbling, it's something that I think
may have something to do with it. So marbling could be a hint. Okay, for those following along at home now, very good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you guys made it into the gallery and made it into the show. I've loved your work. You've kind of got the show place. I mean, when you walk in, you will see their work immediately. And tell me again your names and just.
it's Gina Muxor Ramos and
Bolson.
Bolson, very good. Yeah, it's wonderful work. Your website is again
Bolson Muxor.
BUSON
BOU
Okay.
ZON
that's right.
MUXO.com.
Very good. Your work is incredible. I guarantee you, no matter what the photographs look like, to see them in person is a different thing altogether. You really need to come down to the Heart of Delray Gallery. I'm sure you show elsewhere too, but certainly at the Heart of Delray Gallery, we've got a wonderful collection of 7 pieces, and then in the chair. I keep track.
This is a beautiful,
yeah, absolutely.
This is a beautiful gallery. It's got so much different work from different artists. There's something for everyone to enjoy.
There really is. That's one of the things I marvel at. There's 77 artists here. Each I think just, the work here is incredible. I mean, your work is quite different from mine, but I also know your success is mine here. And I marvel at your eye, and the way things manifest themselves. Gene has a different take all the way to Grant. So, just to know that everybody here has got their heart and soul into
That's
it.
what I think. I think everybody here, every artist is a great artist.
Yep, I think so too.
Everything you look at here in the wall is amazing.
I think so too. I really do. I'm so glad to hear you say it, and it's wonderful to have you guys among us, because I think you certainly raised the stature, and I mean you certainly have a great impact here.
Thank you, and we're honored to have this opportunity.
Absolutely, we're so delighted you're here, and good luck on the Bombay Sapphire. I will go vote. I promise you.
Thank you.
My wife
so
will
much.
also.
We appreciate every vote.
We're so glad to have you down here.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing more of you. Take care, man. Of course. Well, I think that about wraps us up for this evening. We're here at the Heart of Delray Gallery at Art Walk. I don't know what time is it. It is 20 to 8, so 15 to 8. So we've got, you want this now? You're welcome to leave it there. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you got it. Okay, let me get this real quick. At the Heart of Delray Gallery here in Delray, 1440 North Federal. It's a great gallery. It's 11,000 square feet of space, 77 artists. It's a creative center, not just a gallery itself. It is a selling gallery. Again, we have a wonderful director of sales, Michelle Cancro, who is someone who will actually, if you came in here, you're looking to buy something for your house and you find yourself in love with a few different genres, Michelle will come and actually service you, and she will bring pieces to your house so you can see them on the walls, so you can evaluate them in your setting. So I think it's one of the real blessings that this gallery and Michelle's services within this gallery offer. 77 artists. That means you've got a whole lot of different looks. Got one more. That's excellent. We'll stretch. We've got 77 artists. That means we've got everything from French Impressionists to great photographers to some very playful art, some very abstracted art, but I think it's still approachable. I think a lot of times people will say abstract and people kind of roll their eyes because they don't quite know what that means. There's some pieces here that have some real, as our last guest said, everybody's here. Their work is professional and exquisite. I count myself among the talented artists here, and I'm blessed to be amongst them. Speaking of like this piece right here is actually a piece of my work. I'm blessed enough to have the gallery or the Heart of the Brooklyn Cafe like my work enough to have me actually on screen. I'm gonna switch the places around here again. It's live television, folks. Yay. We got one more person coming in. If not, I'll spend the next hour talking about myself. Hey, what the heck? Again, Heart of Delray Gallery at ArtFest. And, I find that this place is a great opportunity for new artists as well, because I've just been doing this professionally for my living for the past 2.5 years. I had owned an advertising agency before that. Sold it, moved down here, I'd always wanted to paint the beach, so I'm doing that. So I'm satisfying my heart's desire. And this is a great gallery that someone can actually rent a relatively small space. Excellent. Wonderful. Kathy Katz Linden. Yay. Welcome, welcome. Here we got a perfect place for that. I'm glad you made it in. Everybody here is such good friends. What's top and what's bottom? Make sure that goes this way, right?
Yes.
Yep, that is right, correct?
Yes,
Yep,
Michelle
okay.
likes it that way.
Yeah, all right. Uh-oh. Come in here, Kathy. Make yourself at home here. Hi, how are you doing? Good to see you. Doing well?
I have had everybody in your studio.
Y'all good, wonderful, good. This is Kathy Katz Linden. This is one of my dear friends, along with Gene, down here at the Heart of Delray Gallery. Kathy, I was talking about her work. I was at this last show. Someone was talking about the beautiful portrait across from my studio, and I said, no, that's not my work. This woman does great work. And then over there in the corner, Kathy was kind of like, and I stopped and realized, just saying that I'm the one who did that. So it started a great conversation with some hopefully buyers, but I don't know, but at least some interested parties.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good turnout tonight.
There is
Lots
good
of
turnout.
people.
Well, I've been in here actually, but I can tell from the
You don't
flow-
need to be in your studio.
No, okay. Well, hey, I honestly, between Michelle and you and Jean and Leslie, I know I am covered. Honestly,
We've got you covered.
And I'm greatly blessed. Everything about this gallery, there's such great camaraderie.
There is,
and
and collaboration.
There really is, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the things that noticing Clemente and Michelle's latest piece, and Jay and Mark Dane had done a piece together. I mean, whether it's collaboration for ideas or whether it's actually literally collaboration, and it's amazing work here, and I love the opportunity for all this energy to come into one place. And you can feel it here. You literally walk in the door here, you can tangibly feel a glow and electricity. It's just it's something that you you can't. I mean, seriously. I walk in here and every day the hair on my arm stands up. It's like there's static electricity in the room or something. This is actually, we were talking just the other day, and Kathy does wonderful portraiture. Love her the way she uses just a vivid palette across skin tones, and still this doesn't look like some kind of robotic. It still looks like a person, but you see such emotion and depth in the palette you use a lot of times.
Yeah,
Exquisite
it's
pieces.
figurative art.
Yeah,
in other words, there is some sense of realism,
Yep.
but then it just goes a little bit further with the color palette.
Incredible, exquisite work that really must be seen. But one of the things we were talking about was you started doing some pouring work.
Just to take a break. So we do something a little different. So this is a pour, but it's also hand manipulated so that it's got some movement in it.
Yeah, this isn't spirograph. This isn't.
No.
Yeah, it didn't just come out of the cup this way.
No.
It is more than just pouring things on there.
So these are fun to do. And you just never know how the colors are going to combine and what you're going to get. So
I've had a couple ideas. I was talking with another artist. There's a woman here who's affiliated with the Boca Museum in some fashion, and her husband is a sculptor. And she was talking that they've started doing some pouring and stuff, and they were particularly talking about this piece of work on the wall. And it said, "Oh, I love the way she's done this and drawn this out." And clearly, she's done some things in there that are very purposeful. And I just thought, it was interesting though to hear, this isn't just something that comes out of a cup. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff on the internet that are some interesting pieces. People, pardon me for saying it this way, but pedestrian pieces that someone can mix a bunch of things together, pour them out on canvas, and it looks pretty, like a spirograph.
right.
But
I mean, you can go on YouTube and
Yeah.
see them just take a cup. And,
Sure. But this is quite different. And it's funny, I find myself falling in love with, I love the peacock-esque aspects of this coloration with the gold in there, but I find myself also falling in love with some of the marbling here and some of the monochromatic areas there. I mean, just, a piece like this, I sit there and I'm in love with 18 different spots at the same time, and it's really cool.
Well, I think what's interesting is a lot of people who do pours start with very small canvases. They're using 6x6, 8x8. So then you get a piece like this, which is 48 by 36.
Yeah.
It's a little different to maneuver with, but lots of fun.
I'll bet it is.
And it is a break from me doing all the portraiture
Yeah.
because that's a little more precise.
Well, I find myself doing the same thing. I'll find, I do a lot of very kind of I paint with my hands a lot, actually. It's funny, I have a lot of brush, I have some very expensive brushes. I find myself using my fingers or a toothpick or, all kinds of things. But when I find myself in a certain kind of mood, I'll get the palette knife out and I'll do some architectural pieces, because to me, a palette knife is very conducive to architectural angles. So I love that. I can see very much when you take a break from, and I do that just for the sake of just keeping my heart fresh. Just trying to do something a little different and new.
Yeah.
I've done some kind of playful little kid kind of drawings that,
Well, sometimes you can take a foot-long trowel, which I have, and just run it, and you'll get
some interesting effects.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone about using resin tonight, and I actually use resin, and I will actually try to tint the resin in some cases because it's an oil base. I paint acrylic, but because resin is an oil base, it's a great sealant. But you can also use oil paint in it and actually tint it. So I've used places where I've tried to do not this kind of thing, but where I've poured pure resin and then tinted it some and tinted it more for some of my pieces that have the C in it, and trying to get some real kind of jello-like depth in there visually.
Yeah.
You can get some interesting effects. But I'm somebody, I like, when somebody says you shouldn't do it this way, that's exactly the license I need to do it that way. I like breaking the rules. I can see this being a heck of a lot of fun. And again, like we talked about the collaboration. Kathy sent me this very involved formula and precise. No, it was wonderful. Precise process about doing this, and that was such a godsend. I mean, so many people, having worked in the advertising agency business in New York City, I know that there were 18 people interviewing for my job every day. I mean, it wasn't that my job was in danger. It was in danger every day. And so if I wasn't exactly doing the sharpest, best thing, I knew I had a chance to lose my job. And if somebody had a new technique, my God, they were not going to share it. They were robber baron of their technique.
Absolutely.
That's not the way it is here at all. If I've stumbled upon some new technique, or Gene has, or you have, we are delighted to share that, because, who knows? To be honest, I can see myself doing this, but doing it in parts and painting over, or leaving it negative space, not doing it in certain places.
Right.
So my mind starts working about how I can do this, differently, or involve it with my work. So I mean, it's so cool the way the artistic mind works.
Absolutely. But a thought I do want to leave you with.
Yeah, please.
I have taken art since I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
That was my degree.
Yeah.
And
Thank
so, really?
Yeah, I have a degree in fine art.
So do I.
Yep.
And so, over the years, obviously it's been many years since college, I've accrued many, many brushes, all different sizes, styles. I must have hundreds of brushes. But I like to use these because I always know where they are.
And that's the truth, yeah. And I have great control over these. Sometimes a brush, you'll be wanting just the right angle, and the dang thing won't give it to you, even though you know it did last week. It just doesn't. Yeah, I always know what these do. Exactly right. Yeah. I'm a finger painting pro, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that a little smudge like that, doesn't. It's a great tool to have readily available to you.
Hell on the manicure.
Well, that's what somebody. Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, somebody will laugh and they'll, my rings, so I'll have paint all over me and say, "Oh, you still have paint on me." I'm like, I for years now. I mean, it's not
something interesting. There's an artist outside. I won't mention her name.
Yeah.
She's very well known in the community. And someone asked her about her technique, and she is out there explaining from A to Z.
It's got to be Emily Greco. I knew it was when you said that. Yeah, you said, "Well, no." And Emily's a very talented artist who does everything from flat canvases to mannequins, to a lot of their stuff. But you're right. I mean, she has got a great deal of notoriety in this area.
Yes.
And is well enough known to be in Florida Design and some other publications that are international art scale. I think we're all deserving of that. We're just not there yet.
Right.
Well, I'm not. Okay. Maybe you are, but actually you're getting there.
She has a very different technique.
She does.
It's wonderful. I love her mannequins.
Yep. But like you said, she's very forthcoming in how you do it. Partially because I know that I can tell you all the technique I have in the world, but you can't have this mind.
Right.
No matter what you do. So I don't feel any need to hold back, because I know that the one thing you can't do, you can have my technique all day long, you can't see through these eyes, and thank God for most of the world.
Exactly.
But we have an inherent lens on things, and how that manifests itself in the artwork is all about the God-given talent.
Absolutely.
It's just,
I mean, people will ask me, how do I come up with the colors I use? And it's because it's my sense.
Yeah.
I look at someone, I don't just see flesh tones,
Yeah.
I see all kinds of auras.
I can see that. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And I found myself, see, I've never been a great portrait artist, but I find myself looking with, just looking anew at, like you said, the skin tones and realizing that, first off, I'm a little orangey. You know, you're a little creamy. You know what I mean? Just to recognize, you know.
Ooh,
I mean,
I'm creamy.
But you know what I mean, though? We had to do a self-portrait in school, and I realized I couldn't use flesh tone because that wasn't me at all. I'm not flesh tone. I'm a little orangier. And to look at just the nuances, and then, like you said, to look at a shadow. I can see a shadow on a piece of pottery, and to see the blue in that shadow.
Exactly.
But you people become so focused on the things you know so well, like your face, that it's hard to see, you know, the coloration. And so
We look.
Yeah.
They don't.
But I mean, that's one of the things, you know, Leonardo da Vinci said, I guess at one time, someone was asking him how he carved David, I think it was. That's Michelangelo, isn't it? I was like,
Michelangelo.
yeah, that's Michael. Okay. How he carved David, and he said, well, from the block of stones, I removed everything that was not David. So he saw the sculpture in that, and all he was doing was removing the excess.
Yeah.
What an interesting thought process, because you know that's a different mindset. And so I think as an artist, sometimes it's learning to re-see something, you know, from what we know is there. You know, so many people want to think of the face as being symmetrical. It's not at all. And actually, you'd be a pretty scary looking person if it was, frankly, a lot of times. But you know, just it's great to see.
Which is why we don't get plastic surgery. We don't want to end up like a Picasso.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. A walleye, two eyes on one side of her head, and her ears touching in back. Kathy, it's so wonderful to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, good to see you again.
Bye, honey.
You know, I love your artwork, and
Same here.
I love your energy as well. Well, folks, I think I'm at the end of my stay here at the Heart of Delray Gallery at the Brooklyn Cafe. Freddie and Dawn were kind enough to let us once again sit in here and do some interviewing, and it's a great privilege and honor to be able to interview some of my comrades here in arms. 77 artists, 11,000 square feet of space, the Heart of Delray Gallery at 1440 North Federal. It's an incredible place that if you don't know about, you need to know. You need to come down and see. I can tell you all day long, when you walk in the door, you will recognize how distinctly different this place is from any other gallery you've been at. That's not to dismiss any other gallery here in the world, for that matter. But this has got an energy that is uniquely different. It's not the Guggenheim. It's as good as the Guggenheim. It's not, you know, name any other number of places. This has got some swagger, and I think it's something you ought to see. So I'm signing off, I suppose. Thank you, Freddie, for the opportunity. Have a great night, man.